Yeah.
But we have some great professional fights coming up too.
Yeah, that's a great transition. Here, let me pull it up. I'm
Riyadh season.
I'm so stoked on this card. I mean, I really hope I was really hoping, and I'm still hoping that by the time it's done, that some casual fans will tune in for a top to bottom great card. You know,
I think
it's
so. I think that the popularity of everything's really starting to hit the forefront. The promoters are changing, fighters are changing. The way that their promoters changing. It's a lot more interactive. You see guys like Eddie Hearn out there doing a lot more. Different variety of platforms, and Terrence Crawford's really come out of his shell and embraced this superstar persona that they want to put on him, and well deserved as well. So this card, top to bottom, is very 1980s Don King-esque. You know what I mean? Where you
right.
have like essentially three or four main events. So I'm excited, and I think it's a great thing that they're doing with that Turkey Allah Sheikh and Riyadh season. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, I only wish it was out here in Vegas so I could be in the same town and go to the fights. But
I don't think it's going to be long. It'll be there soon, I'm sure.
yeah, right. I think
Yeah,
the fighters would prefer that too because it's a fun town because everybody, not only do you come for the fights, but you come for Vegas, right? So you get all the
that's
you
it.
get all the benefits, and then the fighters don't have to pay taxes
Yep,
as well,
that's it, brother.
state taxes. So,
Yeah,
um, who's
that's
your
it.
which fight are you looking forward to the most?
Well, obviously, I want to see Bud Crawford just move up. Um, he's going up to 154 against a big, strong guy. You know what I mean? Um, Madrimov. Um, I'm looking forward to that fight. I mean, hey, look, if 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 you're not looking forward to seeing Pitbull Cruz and Rayo, I mean, you're not a boxing fan. I mean, anytime Pitbull's in there and you get a guy like Rayo, who likes to get in there and mix it up as well, you got a great fight with that. I mean, Andy Ruiz and Big Baby Miller, come on, these guys are throwing some heavy meat hooks. You know what I mean? And guys coming up too, guys that we really don't know much of. They're going to get a lot for like Morel, the Cuban former super middleweight, to move it up to light heavyweight, fighting for the interim belt, and then you got the Cuban guy, the 135 pounder, Andy Cruz. He's going to be featured as well. From a competitive standpoint, I think um,
This
Cruz
is an old one
and
too. This is an old one. So
yeah,
Tisu and Virgil Ortiz,
yeah, they're
that
not
would
on there anymore. But yeah,
that
you
would
have
be
another one on
amazing if
there.
they
Yeah,
were.
yeah, I believe there's another one on the two. Terrence Crawford's stablemate, Steve Nelson, is actually fighting on the card as well.
Yeah.
He's a 19-0 super middleweight. He's fighting, and he's a real sleeper too. Steve hasn't been that active, but he's a real tough guy. He's been a tough out for a lot of people, and he's undefeated still. I believe he's fighting undefeated kid from Mexico. I cannot remember his name, but that should
Um,
be a good fight as well. But if you want to go on me with action, I mean, you come on, Big Baby Miller and Andy Ruiz. I mean, neither of those guys are running. I don't even think those guys do run, literally in training. I mean, so if they're coming right to the middle of the ring, it's on.
right,
And
right.
yeah, and Bud, and this might not be so popular, but part of me, even though Bud is moving up to 154 pounds and they're questioning, strength and whatnot, this fight, don't be surprised if this fight is just a complete wash. You know what I mean? Not nothing taking nothing away from
Madrimov,
Madrimov. He's a hell of a fighter. Yeah, a hell of a fighter. He had a hell of an amateur background. But the pros are a little different. And Bud Crawford. I mean, you're right there. You're messing with an all-time great. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from lightweight to junior welterweight. I've seen him in camp. I've seen him with big guys, and sparring's different, but just his skill level. And I mean, you look at his last four. With you got Spence, Abenisi, and Porter, Brook. I know those guys are There may be at 147, but you go over on the other side. This guy's got like Kurbanov and Aguiloki, and the only guy I recognize on his record is Michael Soro,
Yeah.
who to me is just a mid-level guy. So I mean, hey, all due respect to Magomedov, he's won the title, he's done what he's had to do, but he's got 14 fights in, and I think it's going to be interesting early, but I think this is one of those fights where maybe I would not be surprised if Terrence Crawford just walked, completely picked him apart and took him out.
Right, right. I think they picked him because of that, because his like if you look at Terrence when guys are aggressive. So Madrimov is very aggressive,
Very wild too, by the way. He gets wild.
and those mistakes are tailor made for Crawford style. Like when he reaches out and he extends himself a little too much. I think that's when Crawford's going to strike. The way I see it playing out is I think it's going to be like the first 3 rounds are going to go to Madrimov as Crawford, starts slow. He's just downloading all that info, figuring him out, getting his timing right. And then he just steps on the gas after that. And, I hear a lot of people just saw the boxing people talking about, it's going to be a tough fight. I think any fight at this level is going to be tough. At the same time, look at what Crawford did to an aggressive Spence. When you're aggressive, when he won his title at 147, again, another aggressive fighter came after him, and you can't fight Crawford that way because that's what he wants. He wants you to be aggressive. He wants you to come after him. And I think Joel Diaz, huge respect for Joel, man, what he has done with fighters over the years. If he's going to get a guy, if there's any guy that's going to get a guy ready for a fight, it's going to be him. I think they'll look at all aspects. I just hope that those mistakes that he makes, that they've had enough time in camp to be able to correct or not, train himself out of that. But I think once he gets deeper into the fight and begins to take some shots from Crawford, he's going to go back to what he knows. And that's the old cliche, but it's true.
Well, yeah, he said it. Hey, look, Terrence Crawford has, been a multi-weight world champion, undisputed in 2 different ones. Hey, look, it's at the end of the day, of course, Joel Diaz is a hell of a trainer. He's going to have his guy ready to go, as ready as he can have him, but it's a humongous ask to come in and beat a guy, 40-year-old guy. He's knocked out his last 11. And it's just, his mental state and his confidence is through the roof at all times. Bud Crawford, right now, he's on the cusp of, he knows that, going through this guy could be his meal ticket to Canelo. And, I've spent some time with Bud. He's a cold individual. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be semi-competitive early, but, this guy, he's stepping up into a whole other echelon, even though he's the guy, he's in the bigger weight. I don't see Bud Crawford having too many issues with him. That being said, this is boxing. Anything could happen. They're world-class fighters, but I see a kind of a walkthrough right there for Bud.
Yeah, yeah. And it was one of those things where they've been super polite to each other, because Bud is one of those guys. If you're polite to him, he's going to be polite.
Sure.
If you
Sure.
push him and you wake him up on that, because he's got that edge to him that not a lot of guys, like he's mean in the ring. Like he's a mean guy. And we've all watched him torture guys who were, talking shit during the buildup. And I heard that they got into it back behind the scenes before they came out for their press conference. And then Eddie doing what Eddie does. Did you see Eddie on the field over at the soccer stadium? I'm like, dude, why is Eddie doing that? Don't poke the bear.
Well, hey, look, they're all working together. I mean,
right.
That's how you're going to make these fights. I mean, nothing's going to stop what's going to happen on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's going to be what it's going to be. The more they're able to build it up and sell it on pay-per-view, all power to them. These guys are making a lot of money and deservedly so. So I think we're just in for a good feat and a good night of boxing. I look more to the undercard rather than the main event. I know the main event's going to be a great fight, but yeah, like I said, the Ruiz and Miller, and then you got Jared Anderson and Bacoli. I mean, come on, these guys are going to be letting it go. So I really can't wait for those fights. It's going to be good to finally watch, a card that's pretty full from top to bottom.
Right. And it's crazy to see, like, if you look at the card, like, any one of these fights should be a main event on a typical night in boxing.
Sure.
So you're getting, potentially five main events, six main events,
Yeah, that's right.
easily. And so to see like Andy Ruiz, Big Baby, a 50-50 fight, I'm curious to see what those guys have left. I mean, obviously Andy's been off for 2 years. Big
Right.
Baby didn't look good in his last fight. How much is he going to come in? Is he going to come at 300 plus 300 pounds, or is he going to get it, come down? And then how big is, Andy going to be? You got two unlikely athletes getting in there who've got power,
Right.
knockout power, and anything happens in the heavyweight division. So
Yep. Fighters,
um,
nonetheless. I think we expect from everybody because of this new this new influx of like promotion from Riyadh season and Turkey Al Shalik. Uh, these guys want to make sure they show their best. Everybody wants to get in on this. This guy has opened up the checkbook
yeah,
with Riyadh season. So any fighter that gets on this card is going to try to put forth their best effort. So yeah, people should watch these cards because they want to get back on these cards and they want to fight for these guys again.
right.
Because this is prize fighting, and you want to be on the biggest shows and making the biggest money, and that's what this is right now. Ultimately, so a lot of people are going to be some guys are going to be fighting for their careers, and some guys are going to be fighting for a legacy. So it's really a great mix. Guys like I said, you got guys like Ruiz and um, Miller fighting for their careers. Andy Cruz is just starting his career.
Yeah.
Morel as well. He's trying to break himself into it. You know what I mean? And Pitbull and Arreo. It's top to bottom. You just can't miss. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and I really do hope that the casuals tune in because they're going to be able to see like Jared Anderson, right? This guy, top ranked fighter. They have high hopes for him. I mean, this is their big. Obviously they have a piece of Tyson Fury, but they didn't grow Tyson from the start of his career.
Right.
Jared had from day one, and this is their guy that they believe is going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. So, and he's American. And so, if
Right.
you're an American boxing fan, casual, you want to see what's coming up in the heavyweight division.
That's
Jared
right.
Anderson is going to be that guy, and I would love to see him showcase his talent, get a good. I mean, he's got a tough fight ahead of him, but it's if he gets a spectacular knockout, you have potential superstar in the making. Uh,
That's what it is, man. It's the heavyweight division.
right.
He's got to show out. And this is the platform.
Yeah.
Big stadium, LA. This is it. It should be great.
Right. And then you got like, David Morale. Like I'm a little bummed he went up to 175 because I would love to see him at I want to see, I mean, basically the fight to make. Like if you can't get Canelo, which Morale and Benavidez want Canelo, and Canelo's done everything he needs to do. He's kind of just on a retire. I feel like he's on a retirement tour, just taking on guys that
Sure.
they're
Sure.
not. He's not taking on the top contenders. Um, that aside, the best fight in 168, 175 is David Benavidez versus David Morale. And so if people haven't seen David Morale and seen how good he is, I mean, Cuban style,
Right.
big boy, has power as well as, and he can box with that Cuban style. I think he gives David Benavidez a hell of a time. If eventually they get in the ring together, I don't think they're gonna. We're probably not gonna see them fight in the next, at least the next year, because obviously Benavidez doesn't want to take any risks. He wants that. He wants that Canelo fight, and if he loses any fight at any point before he gets it, then probably fights off. But I would love fans to get to know Dave Morrell, because that's only going to make the Benavidez, when he does get in the ring with David Benavidez, that's going to be an amazing fight with those two guys. So
I agree, brother.
So we're
No,
looking
man,
at,
sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
right,
It should be fun. It's gonna be a
right,
great card, and yeah, man,
and
it's
it's
gonna be
cool.
nice.
It's cool for fans too, because it makes it easy. As far as what Riyadh season is doing, you can watch it. Basically $80. You can watch it on Amazon, ESPN Plus, or you can buy it on Amazon, buy it on ESPN Plus, buy it on the Zone, or just
Right,
regular cable television. So, this is all new. I mean, you've never been able to buy
right.
until the odd season the pay-per-view on any platform that you want, and so it makes it very easy for fans to purchase it. So
No, totally, totally. It's gonna be good, man. I'm looking forward to it. Mondo, I gotta get out of here.
okay,
I'm running a little bit late, but let's
yeah,
catch
yeah,
up after the fights.
right, yeah. Let's catch up. It'll be fine, and it's an early. I think the opening fights start at 1 o'clock, so it's they've adjusted the time for people overseas. So
No, it'll be good. I think there's gonna be a lot of good fights in the card, and like I said, the televised cards they're gonna be on fire, man. I can't wait for the head. I love when the heavyweights fight, and I love Pitbull Cruz as well. So I think everybody's in for a treat.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something that's it's gonna be fun, man. And I hope we get more of these cards in the US.
Yes, I'm saying. Sounds good, bro. Let's catch up soon. Let's catch up during the fights. We'll throw you some texts.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
All right.
brother.
All right.
Cheers. Good night.
All right, babe.